This is the TK68, what could possibly be the best budget wireless keyboard. This keyboard offers some features for just under $90 that really did catch my eye. If you're thinking about picking one up, watch this video and consider subscribing. I post a lot of different tech content I think you could like. Of course, thank you to Banggood for saying this out to me. Without further ado, let's get on with the video. Alright, let me start off with the general specs about this keyboard. So obviously it's a 65% coming in at $88. It has 3 different connectivity modes: Bluetooth, the receiver, and just wired. You get to choose from 5 different switches. I went with the silver switches here. And then you get the option between ASA and XDA profile PVT keycaps, but they do have a certain colorway locked to each different profile. So yeah, I would say there is quite a few different ways you can customize and spec out this board, and it's also hot swap, so you don't have to go with the switches if you don't want to. The keycaps themselves are actually decent quality from what I was expecting. They have a good amount of thickness to them, and they are PVT, so they have a little bit of a rougher feeling on top, but definitely not the best keycaps ever. My biggest issue with the keycaps is how hollow the spacebar is. You'll hear it later in the sound test, but I feel like it would have been more appreciated if they filled it up just a little bit. This is a $90 board after all. I feel like they probably could have put like a grid pattern in there. If you're Hippio Tech and have Play-Doh, you're probably fine. The case design thankfully is unique from things like the GK61 design that we see so many times. And if you're wondering, the battery is rated for 6 hours with RGB on and 24 hours with RGB off. These stabilizers are plate mount and they are factory lubed. I feel like the factory lube job could have been better, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. You'll hear it later in the sound test, just like the spacebar. And lastly, before the sound test, there are 2 different height adjustable feet and a lot of rubber padding on the bottom of the board. I like that. Now time for the typing test. This board is completely stock with stock Gateron silvers. To be honest, I was pretty impressed with this board and its sound signature, especially when stock with the Gateron silvers of any switch. Now yeah, definitely room for improvement here, especially with the stabilizers and maybe choosing different switches, but it's far from the worst thing I've ever had stock. It really did not sound hollow, maybe because there's a battery occupying the case, and there was very little pinging. Really had to get my ear close to it to hear any pinging. If I had to describe the sound signature, it's pretty much like any other plastic Amazon keyboard like an RK61 or GK61, just less hollow and less pingy. So is this the best budget wireless keyboard out there? Simply put, no. It's mainly because of its price point, because keyboards like a $50 RK61 that is hot swap and wireless do exist, which is about $40 cheaper. And Keychron also makes a lot of wireless keyboards for around the same price point. Now, I have not tested a Keychron before, so I can't tell you if it's better or not, but I can tell you the RK61 sound signature is very similar to this one. So I think the main thing that kills this keyboard is the value, because a lot of other companies are doing this for way cheaper. Now, yeah, you could argue the layout, but I don't know if the price difference is really that much worth it. Some things I would recommend you buy this keyboard for are its keycaps. Maybe you want the layout, or maybe you really want some Gateron silvers, because those switches don't usually come on keyboards like this. So to the general amount of you, I don't recommend this board, mainly because there's a lot of better competition out there. Solid board though, overall.